Brandon Fugal had a flash drive stolen from his hotel room in 2018 in Washington, D.C. The night before he was to give a classified intel briefing on Skinwalker Ranch and the happenings there, right? Sort of this UFO alien presentation. And guess what? That's the only thing they took from his hotel room. That's right. And who is Brandon Fugal? And am I saying his name right? I don't know. Anyway, he is the owner of Skinwalker Ranch and star of the hit History Channel TV series, The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, right? And why is this significant and relevant? I'm going to tell you why. Let's dive in. If you're new to the channel, y'all, and you like content like this, please hit that subscribe button. I put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day. And please hit that like button, vetters. That really helps out the videos. So thank y'all so much for the support there. And of course, comment down below. What do you think about this mic drop from Brandon Fugal? You'll see what I mean. Let's go. All right, first thing we're going to do is take a look at this clip from a recent interview of Sean Kirkpatrick. You'll see how this all unfolds and what I mean exactly. So this is just going to be a little refresher here of, it's all based around this classified intel briefing that took place in 2018. Just remember that, okay? That's the playground we're at. That's the stadium, all right? And then we'll talk about the game here in a minute. But just remember that. 2018 classified intel briefing on Capitol Hill. It involves Sean Kirkpatrick and Brandon Fugal. You'll see what I mean. All right, let's go.
Comes when I asked Kirkpatrick if he had a previous history working with UFOs, or if he had any previous associations with members of this core group of true believers. Before Arrow, did you have any interest at all in UFOs?
Not beyond the occasional movie.
Okay. Before Arrow, did you perform any duties regarding UFOs or paranormal phenomena?
No.
Did you attend a 2018 Senate Armed Services Committee briefing on Skinwalker Ranch? I asked him this question because in a previous report of mine, I revealed that in 2018, Brandon Fugal, the owner of Skinwalker Ranch, went to Washington, D.C. and gave a briefing to multiple Pentagon officials about the spooky stuff at the ranch. At the briefing were some of the members of this group. Fugal told me Kirkpatrick was not only there, but was leading the briefing about Skinwalker Ranch. Did you attend a 2018 Senate Armed Services Committee briefing on Skinwalker Ranch?
No, I attended a briefing at the request of the Senate Armed Services Committee on what was at that time associated with the ATIP, OSAP research that was going as an independent outside reviewer. And I gave them my opinions at that time.
Who invited you to that briefing?
It was one of the staffers.
Okay, one of the staffers on SASC. Got it. And you're saying that this was like an offset of OSAP ATIP?
That's my understanding at the time. Was it was a spin out of those programs
in 2018? Wow. Okay.
So those programs were ended. The research by these independent people, because this was not an official government briefing. This was a briefing by people that were not associated with the government. So,
okay, so this briefing was not an official DoD Pentagon briefing.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay. Brandon Fugal, the owner of Skinwalker Ranch, says you, quote, led that briefing in 2018 and claims you said you were, quote, already fully aware of the reality of UFO phenomena. Is that accurate?
I wasn't leading anything. I had another job at the time, and I was brought in as an independent, objective reviewer of what the SASC was being told.
Okay. Because this offered a little bit of a curveball in my reporting because I did a whole deep dive on Skinwalker Ranch. Brandon Fugal told me about the briefing, said, you were there. And he said that, Kirkpatrick said that UFOs are real in this briefing. And when I reported that, I think the UFO community at the time was like, oh, Kirkpatrick's a UFO guy because Fugal said so. And then when your report came out, they're like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, no, Kirkpatrick did not say aliens were real.
Or UFOs were real, that the reality, quote, the reality of UFO phenomena is real.
No, I never said that.
Before Arrow, did you have any association with any of these folks, any of the people in this core group of believers?
No.
So, like, when you went to that briefing in 2018 where you said ALSAP ATIP folks were there, you didn't know any of those people?
Not at the time.
Okay.
Not that I remember. I think I met all the people associated with this all at that time was probably around the first that I'd ever met them.
Okay, so he admits that he was at this unofficial 2018 Skinwalker Ranch briefing, but only on invitation and only as an independent, objective reviewer. Okay? But seriously, what was he even doing there? How can he say that he had no interest or duties regarding UFOs before 2022 if he's attending briefings in 2018 about one of the most famous UFO spots on planet Earth? I could have pushed him more on this, but time was ticking and I wanted to cover more topics. I emailed Kirkpatrick some follow-up questions, and he said this: I ended up at that briefing because a congressional staffer asked me to attend as an objective third-party scientist to listen to the presentation. I did not know it was about Skinwalker Ranch until later. I don't recall it being referenced by that name during the briefing. He doesn't recall Skinwalker Ranch even being referenced? I replied by sending Kirkpatrick this PowerPoint presentation that Brandon Fugal claims he presented at the briefing. Skinwalker Ranch is all over it, and it's all about Skinwalker Ranch. Kirkpatrick replied, That's not the briefing I recall seeing. The briefing I saw was less polished. Come to think about it, I don't believe it was 2018 that I attended a briefing on the Hill. I believe it would have been 2017. In 2018, I was stationed in Colorado. I don't recall ever meeting Fugal. Maybe he's confusing the two meetings. So I reached out to Brandon Fugal about Kirkpatrick's comments. Fugal responded, Are you trying to get Kirkpatrick in trouble and destroy his credibility? You better be careful with what you report. To which I replied, No, I interviewed him and brought up the 2018 Senate Armed Services Committee briefing you had told me about. I included his response below and would like to give you an opportunity to respond or clarify. Fugal responded, He, meaning Kirkpatrick, was at that meeting on April 19th, 2018. I gave you an accurate account of the meeting and have video, photos, and witnesses. I then asked Fugal if he could provide any of those videos, photos, or witnesses. Fugal did not respond at the time of this video's publishing. This is all very confusing.
Yes, it is. So here's the cliffhanger, right? Was Kirkpatrick at this briefing? Fugal claims he has photos, videos, witnesses of this briefing. Right? The same briefing that I mentioned at the beginning where a flash drive was stolen. I'm about to get into that. But the first bombshell I didn't even mention at the beginning is Brandon Fugal brought the receipts after this video aired. Let's take a look. On April 19, 2018, my team from Skinwalker Ranch was asked to provide a confidential briefing in Washington, D.C. to the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence and United States Armed Services Committee. Sean Kirkpatrick was at the head of the table. It lasted 2.5 hours. So again, to clarify, Sean Kirkpatrick is denying having been at this briefing and having ever met Fugal. But if we take a closer look, we can see, here's Brandon Fugal. Here's this guy from Skinwalker Ranch, the show. A couple of guys here with their backs turned. We'll get to that in a minute. And over here, you might notice someone looking directly at the camera with a look, a gaze, unlike anyone else. Who is this guy? Let's take a closer look. Oh! Bam! Kirkpatrick with a look like either he's like, what the hell are you taking pictures for? We said no pictures. Or busted. Right? You decide. Or he's thinking, God, when is lunch? I hope I get out of here soon. Or there's supposed to be no evidence of me at this meeting. I'm going to deny this years later. So I hope someone can... Oh, my bad. Hang on, y'all. Had a little... Whoa, happened to my camera. Hang on. Look at that. See? Fixed. Isn't that weird? Anyway, okay, right here. Brandon Fugal, okay, saying that Sean Kirkpatrick did attend this meeting, right? Now, maybe Sean Kirkpatrick's memory is just wrong. I wonder how he'll respond to this, right? But he was pretty definitive about saying, you know, just weird, like, I don't remember Fugal. I don't remember Skinwalker Ranch. I don't remember, like, how would you not remember meeting Brandon Fugal? That just seems odd. You would know about the TV show. You did Arrow. This is all after he's been studying Arrow for all that time. He wouldn't, I can get in the moment, but clearly he has to have been reminded about this over the last year in some way, shape, or form. Would he not have, you know, as he's heading Arrow, would he not have looked back and thought, oh yeah, I did this meeting about this, you know, yada, yada. I met that guy from the History Channel show. Like, it just, you know what I mean? If it was just some innocuous, right, it just seems odd. You wouldn't remember this. Because Brandon Fugal's not the only name that would make you think that Sean Kirkpatrick would remember this. Again, let's put it in context. Because remember when I showed you right here, who are these two guys? At least one of them. Who's this guy? Well, it's this guy right here. Boom. Hal Puthoff. Okay? So you're telling me Brandon Fugal and Hal Puthoff are there. Sean Kirkpatrick doesn't remember this? He doesn't remember Hal Puthoff being there? And then you remember, oh yeah, I did do this briefing. Wait, I was stationed in Colorado. So how is he going to... It's just not adding up, right? How is Sean Kirkpatrick going to explain this? Why doesn't he just say, I don't know, you could be right. Maybe I was there. I'm not sure. Instead, he's kind of denying it, right? Now, he is saying, I don't recall this. I don't recall. But he's not like, yeah, it could be possible. Sorry, y'all, I got a cold. Temperature kind of dropped here in Texas. So if you hear me sniffling, to all you out there sniffling, you know what I'm talking about. Right? Like, with Sean Kirkpatrick, I'm telling y'all, something's not adding up there with this in this meeting. And Brandon Fugal brings the receipts, y'all. Right? Brings the receipt. And this, I swear, this picture, it couldn't be like, it feels like it's just set up. It's the perfect picture to release. Sean Kirkpatrick, the only one staring directly at the camera like a James Bond villain. Let's be real. I mean, he literally looks like a James Bond villain right here. Like, you know, like this guy has a tank with sharks with lasers, right? Let's be real. Right? I just, wow. Again, it's like you couldn't set this up. Sean Kirkpatrick pretty much denies ever going to this, doesn't leave it open, right? He really tries to categorically deny it by his statement of, I couldn't have been there because I was stationed in Colorado in 2018, as if planes don't exist, or buses or trains or a car that you can't travel from state to state. What are we talking about? You know what I mean? It's like, has no one ever been on a business trip before? Just because you're stationed somewhere doesn't mean you couldn't be somewhere else, right? Like, what does that even mean? To me, it seems like an odd way of trying to cover this up, right? Because he's trying to say, oh, I had no interactions with any of these people before Arrow, right? Like, I think he thinks that'll hurt his credibility, but let's be real. They probably put him in charge of Arrow because he had a history with UFOs, just like everyone that's been involved with all of this, or some inclination about it, some thought about it, right? A belief about it, and he made it known, right? It doesn't add up. But to go even further, all right, as I stated at the beginning of my video, check this out. Tim McMillan, who is a writer for The Debrief. Just to add to the intrigue surrounding all of this, Brandon Fugal, can you confirm that all your prepared presentation materials went missing from your hotel room the night before, forcing you to use a backup set for the briefing? Because you see, that was part of the video, right? Sean Kirkpatrick saying, I don't recall seeing that presentation at the briefing I went to, right? That's because Brandon Fugal had a certain presentation set up, right? Ready to go on a flash drive, going to present it. And the night before, okay, the same meeting that Kirkpatrick put off, Fugal, they're all there. Someone or some people, who knows, broke into his hotel room in D.C. and stole the flash drive of this presentation, right? And so Brandon is then forced to use a backup at the briefing that may have not have been as, quote unquote, Sean Kirkpatrick put it, polished. But it would still reference Skinwalker Ranch. Like the fact that he wouldn't know about like having this briefing, especially it sounds like he doesn't travel a lot. So he would remember a trip and hearing a briefing like this. Like I think what Green Street should have asked him is, how many briefings like this did you go on? Like, was this a weekly thing where staffers would ask you to sit in on random meetings all the time? So that could make it possible why you'd forget. Or, no, I didn't do very many. Then that's like, okay, then you would remember this, right? I'm just saying, right? Am I being real? Right? So, just saying, Brandon Fugal brought the receipts. But Tim McMillan writes that, right? So what does Brandon Fugal say? Confirmed. The flash drive containing the briefing was stolen from my room, which was the presidential suite of the Grand Hyatt, Washington, D.C., the morning of the briefing, while locked and attending a quick meeting at my Collier's International D.C. office located nearby. Okay, so hang on. It was the morning of the briefing. So not the night before. This is the morning of the briefing, right before the briefing, right? It sounds like. From a presidential suite, right? Someone gets in and takes the flash drive. Now, you may be asking, well, hang on. Was this maybe they just ransacked the whole room. They stole, just a random robbery and just happened to get the flash drive with it. No. There were many valuables left in the hotel room at 8 a.m. in the morning, including cash next to the flash drive. Nothing was touched but the flash drive. Right? That's all they took was this flash drive. Yeah, that's interesting, right? I mean, Brandon Fugal's not going to lie about that. So, yes, I find that quite fascinating, if I'm being honest. Right? I do want to... that picture is just hilarious, I'm telling you. This just doesn't add up, right? Look, I'm not saying there's anything nefarious with any of this, but it definitely just clouds Sean Kirkpatrick's intentions a little bit and his background in this topic before he began to lead Arrow. Right? What other briefings does he not remember that he's been to and met other people? Right? Because he's squirming his way around trying to even be associated with this. Right? Which is why he's looking at the camera, because probably someone had their phone out and he's like, what's going on? Is that person taking a picture? I mean, why is no one else worried about it? You know what I mean? Again, he's in all black. I mean, it's like this is made up. It's like we're living a movie here, right? And you got Brandon Fugal right here. Looks like some woods or something there, right? Probably says Skinwalker Ranch. He's clearly talking. They clearly see him. Hal Puthoff is watching, right? The other dude here doing the presentation. But let's be real, right? Brandon Fugal is clearly visible, looks the same as he does now. Hal Puthoff's here. You know he spoke. And Sean Kirkpatrick's at the head of the table, y'all, right? He's at the head over here. And there's just I think Kirkpatrick's trying, it could not be nefarious, right? It could be he just clearly didn't remember, but it could also be he just doesn't want to admit certain things because he thinks it'll look bad. But there's nothing bad about it. It just, he thinks it will look bad. Therefore, he tries to cover it up, which then in and of itself, that looks bad, right? But who knows? And it could be there's more to it from Kirkpatrick. I mean, he's not giving off all the vibes of someone, right? It just, again, look at I mean, of all these people here, right? You'd be like, no way, it's not that guy. Oh, I mean, that's obvious. Why does he look so mischievous? Looks like something's going on, like something's not adding up. I mean, it's just like the perfect picture to post. And again, he doesn't remember seeing Hal Puthoff there and remembering that. Again, he's saying he's never been associated with any of those people before or met him or, no, I don't know. Come on. Doesn't add up. Then Brandon Fugal's flash drive gets stolen from his presidential suite right before this briefing. So he has to give a lesser than briefing. Luckily, they had that backup. It's kind of weird that was the only copy. But, maybe it's sensitive information. And Brandon's like, I got to keep it. And then, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's also probably be good to ask Brandon, how many people had rooms to your key? How many people had access to your room just off the bat, right? Were there any signs of a break-in on the door? Right? Did you check with hotel security? Did they check the cameras? Right? What did you see? There's also that. But, was Kirkpatrick at this meeting? Yes. Does he look mischievous in that picture? Yes. Is there more to this going on? Not sure. Undecided. But, man, it doesn't look good. Right? As they say. So, curious to hear everyone's opinions on this, to be honest with you. Yeah. Tell me in the comments what y'all think about this, with Kirkpatrick. It keeps unfolding, right? More keeps unfolding. And what's odd is, right, like, just something's not right. Something's not adding up here with Kirkpatrick and Arrow. Again, however you feel about the subject, something's not adding up. I'm not saying it's nefarious, but something's not adding up. For whatever that reason is, I don't know. So, can't wait to read the comments. I'm sure it's going to get spicy. Go for it. Let's be respectful and nice. Respect everyone's opinions. And, yeah. So, look, we'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Don't forget, same time, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. But before we go, I do want to give a quick shout out to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day today here in America. So say hi to your mom. Give her a call if she's not around. My condolences and, speak to her from the heart regardless. So, yes, happy Mother's Day, y'all. Mothers, keep the world going around. And with that said, I want to give a special shout out here to Jessica, who's one of our mods on YouTube and Discord. She sent me a GoFundMe for her daughter, Nikki, who is trying to get to a track and field event in June. It's up in Oregon, I think. It's a Nike event again. And her name is Nikki, and she qualified for this particular run, but it's real expensive to get up there, right? And she needs some help, right? She's just a young lady, and it's a big deal. It's a big run. Like, to qualify for is a pretty big deal. So, it's Mother's Day. Thought it'd be appropriate. And Jessica did not ask me to do this, okay, at all. I'm doing this on my own. She hasn't, wanted to publicize it or anything. And I said, no way. Let me see this. So I donated today. If you can, okay, do what you can. It's all good. I'm going to put a link in the description. Please go check out the GoFundMe, and let's see if we can help, get Nikki to this special event. And Nike, she's just a kid trying to live her dream, and I can respect that. And you got a mom working really hard. Okay, Jessica works really hard on Vetted. I mean, forget, her real life, she works really hard, right? And then on top of that, what she adds to Vetted here as well. So, we're a family, we're a team, Vetters. Let's see what we can do for Nikki. If I'm sure whatever you can donate would help. And if you can't, maybe sharing it to see if other people would donate, right? And regardless, just thank you so much. And yeah, let's see if we can help Nikki and Jessica. All right, y'all. Okay, we'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Remember, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Happy Mother's Day. Every day's a gift, y'all.